Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode. This is your host, Davey Kim. Hi, Amun. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, David. My pleasure.
Yeah. Let's get it started by introducing yourself and your background, your journey to founding the Sastodeal.
Sastodeal.
Sastodeal. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Thanks, David. First off, thank you, for having me here. The previous episode was, I think, with Team Gotcher, one of my lead investor, and I listened to it and I was like, wow. And when I got an invitation from you, like, I was very humbled. So thank you for that. So to give you a quick background on Sastodeal, we are one of Nepal's market leader in the e-commerce domain. So I started the company back in 2011. So the story is, when I came back from US, so I was in US for my studies, and then after 5, 6 years, I came back in 2011. Immediately, I ran into a big problem, right? I had to buy a pair of shoes, and I ended up spending like 6, 7 hours in the market just looking for a pair of shoes, and from going from one places to another, and then like hopping around the city, and then coming back that night with empty-handed. It was really frustrating experience. And that night, a couple of questions, like came through me. One, is it just me or the entire country, like was wasting or spending hours and hours in the market buying shoes or socks or books or whatnot? And the answer was the entire country is going through this. And was there no solution to this? There's none. So I knew right then Nepal needed an e-commerce company, e-commerce website. There were a couple of them, but those were primarily dedicated towards diaspora community for gifting and all, but there is no local company as such for the local market. So I immediately, had this idea that we need to start this company. But had I known it would been such a, like difficult thing, it took me almost 9 years because I just did not have to start the company. I had to start basically the entire industry. So into 2011, just to give you some stats there, Nepal just had 9% internet penetration. So 91% of the country did not even have internet, right? And here I was, a 23-year-old guy running around in the market trying to convince people to buy and sell online. It is tough, but I don't regret it because how many people has that opportunity to start an entire industry versus just a company?
I look at your profile, the background, and then you are the co-founder to other couple of the startup,
Mhm.
including the iClass. I mean the company and then some other businesses. So are you active member in those startup or you're just the investor and then founding member?
Right. Not anymore, David. Like, when I started, back then when I was very young, I was very passionate on starting and becoming a serial entrepreneur. So I
Mm.
really enjoyed the limelight and one company after another, just hopping around, between several companies. But as I matured as an entrepreneur, what I realized was, this is not sustainable and this is not even fair to the hardworking people working for each of these companies, right? So then I had to pick one, and obviously, among these 3 or 4 other startups, Sastodeal had to be the one because e-commerce was really a big domain.
Yes.
So I think like 5 years back, that is when I decided I had to let go all the other startups. So some of them are still being managed by my friends or other partners, where I'm active as an investor or an advisor. But my 16 hour a day goes toward Sastodeal today.
Yes, I agree. I mean, everybody talk about the fintech, ride hailing, and the e-commerce. That's basically is the most popular and then fast-growing business at the moment in the world, right?
Right,
But
right.
in other market, I saw that the eyeglass e-commerce business is huge as well.
Yeah, that too is Nepal's first eyewear company, and
Mm-hmm.
it has an interesting business model. So it's a for-profit social venture where
I see.
every 10 pair of sunglasses, the company supports the cataract surgery of one patient in rural Nepal.
Yeah.
So far, I think the company has done more than 500 cataract surgeries.
Yes, that's a pretty popular business model as well, right?
Right,
Eyeglasses, because some people has issues with the eyesight, and then they do some
right,
of the company startup play as a social venture.
right.
And
I see.
with Sastodeal, what problem are you solving now?
Oh, a lot of problems,
Uh,
David. So, like I said, you had this, it's a challenge and opportunity both to start an industry. So the major, challenge is how do you establish infrastructure around you, right? I mean, unlike most other countries, we don't have the, privilege uh, where we operate and work in an already established, infrastructure like, payment and logistics and all of it. So, I mean, in Nepal, even the address systems are not properly defined. Were not properly defined, I'd say, a few years back. Payment was not even in the limelight until COVID happened, right? E-commerce, internet, a lot of policies around it were not established. So, so many things that, as an entrepreneur, you have to take care of other things in the ecosystem. So while, building everything together, you have to also be in sync with developments happening in other industries, right? So, for example, if the banks are not forward looking in terms of online payment and you're well ahead in terms of, like putting online payment and marketing and everything, then it's not going to work, right? Same to
mhm.
do with logistics and network and other areas, and also to do with customer awareness, internet penetration, and all of it. So we kind of have this mindset that we have to be aligned, not just in terms of company, but in terms of the entire ecosystem, and taking the entire ecosystem alongside, that's, I think, is a really big challenge. But again, this is a challenge that we're here to solve. So I'm going to have
Yes.
a lot of fun.
How about the payment? What is the penetration of a credit card in the Nepalese market, and what is a payment solution? How do you deal with the payment in on your platform now?
Right. So I think, David, credit card is just less than 1%.
Uh,
But online payment in the recent years, and especially because of COVID, it has really now scaled up. I remember in 2017. So we do cash and delivery. I mean, that's how we operate. So we hand over
okay.
the good, we take cash one to one.
So
But
when you deliver it, when they receive the product, you get collect the cash. Is it
right,
correct to say that? Okay.
right,
Uh,
exactly.
uh.
So 2017, I'd say 99% of our entire orders were cash on delivery. But today, it's somewhere around 30-70, where 30% is now online, 70% is cash on delivery. And I see the split now being 50-50 in the coming years. So
Then sounds like hearing from you. If you by yourself or collaborating with the other partners, if you provide a solution for the credit or I mean for the payment, you
mhm.
can quickly scale your business.
Right, right. And luckily, in recent years, a lot of banks, a lot of wallet companies, a lot of payment companies have emerged, and they're very aggressive in the market. And likewise, they're like accumulating a lot of customers and users. Eventually, those are our digital users and customers. So that is happening in part. So that we see a lot of partnership, a lot of initiatives happening in the
Uh,
ecosystem. Right. I
I
mean,
see.
we have a handful of companies here. I think. Just two or three companies that are very dominating in the market, and their penetration. I mean, it's currently less than 5%. They
Five
mostly focus,
percent.
yeah, mostly focus on utility and those kind of payments. But now I see the shift towards e-commerce as well, right? I mean, utility is a small market, so they really see this, like shoppers going to online,
Yes.
wanting to spend. So now they're trying to align with companies like ours, and I think next few years these companies will do really good if they can again align with the e-commerce companies.
Yeah. Sounds like a payment solution other than Cassie will play the huge role for the scaling of your business in
Yeah,
Nepal.
of course.
Yeah. Well,
Trust
why
me,
don't?
cash and delivery is such a hassle.
Yes.
And
Yes.
until and unless you don't locate the person, if the person is moving, you have to follow the person, right? Online payment, you just deliver it at the mentioned address, and it's so easy, right?
So haven't you thought about launching an e-wallet, e-payment system startup in Nepal?
So obviously, e-commerce. We have our plans, right? There's so much to do in the industry. It's such a big industry. There's a lot of verticals, a lot of horizontal expansion that are yet to happen. So this is something that's definitely in the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have seen the very interestingly in Africa, especially in the Kenya, M-Pesa is the company
Right.
e-payment company launched by the telco in Kenya.
Mm.
Telco launched that business, but they don't have a smartphone penetration at all. So you told me that Nepal has a 50%. smartphone
That's
penetration?
internet penetration.
How about
Internet
the
penetration is,
how
and
about the smart?
50% as well.
Oh,
Out of the
50%.
internet
Yeah,
penetration.
yeah,
Yeah.
50%. Probably in the Africa is a very, very low, like depending on the country, but maybe 10% or something like that. They still use
Right.
the feature phone, right?
Right.
Then that company, because instead of waiting for the smart increase of the smartphone penetration, they launched the e-payment system using the
Hmm.
what do you call interactive SMS messenger.
Right. Right. Right.
So that way they quickly grow the business. So I
Yeah.
think you may need that solution by yourself or the partner with another company, and then quickly grow your business, right?
Right. And just to mention, one of our investors that have just come in, IME, so they are one of the leaders in the market in terms of wallet and all. So we have good synergy going with them as well.
Yeah. Hearing from you sounds like you have a lot of white space to grow your business
Yeah.
further,
You
right?
should come to David if you want to
Yeah.
make some money. You should
Yeah,
definitely.
like as I mean, the people talk about the problem, and then that's not something you complain about. That's a huge white space to grow your business going forward, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Very good. I read the description of your business somewhere, and then you talk about the strategic partner is a Flipkart Myntra. Sounds like in Indian or the Nepalese word company. Also, Government of Nepal Food Management Division. So I don't
Mhm.
understand what kind of collaboration or alliance we have. These in one it sounds like commercial company, the other is Nepalese company. Please.
Sure. So, so just to give you a background, Flipkart, it's one of India's largest e-commerce company. So they're fighting Amazon there, just like how we're fighting Alibaba in the local market. So they're also a homegrown Indian company, recently bought by Walmart, the Walmart company. So, so the partnership is worked out in a way like, so David, like if I have to just take a step back and explain how Nepal and India operates, I mean, we are two different countries, but I mean, very similar and very identical. Like, I mean, on both sides, there's a lot of affinity in terms of products, consumer behavior, a lot of other things, right? So,
Yes,
but unlike in India, I mean, India is a big market. Nepal, I mean, there are like limited products available here, but the aspiration for Nepalese shoppers is always there. So, I mean, for decades and decades, what's been happening is whenever we travel to India, we usually take an empty luggage with us so that we can bring back, I mean, clothes, books, and
I
medicine. And
see.
whatnot, right? So that has been going on for decades and decades. So what Sastodeal is now trying to do with the partnership with Flipkart is we're now trying to make this process a little easier. So people in Nepal now don't have to travel all the way to India because Flipkart has tens of millions of products that we need.
So basically, is your business, your company is channeling the e-commerce business from India to Nepal, or
Right,
working together with them. Okay, so
right,
it sounds familiar in Hong Kong and China, between Hong
hmm
Kong and China. Hong Kong has everything, but in terms of price,
mm,
China provide a lot of cheaper product and services. You term people
right.
call it shuttle trading, shuttle trading. So
Shuttle.
everybody, yeah, every day, or I mean every time the people go to the China going through the
Exactly.
Shenzhen, it takes
Yeah.
1 hour by the train. So they go
Uh-huh.
there,
hmm
buy the product and then carry the product. When one is a cabin bag full of
Yeah.
the product, and if they sell it, then they can make a margin, right?
Right.
And
Right.
that's a familiar scene. Even though that there are a lot of business doing that, still there is some area
Mm,
individual the shuttle trader can do the
right.
arbitrage between the for the price, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
that is still
Yeah.
popular between the India and Nepal then.
Right. And also, David, I mean, so what, I mean, the dream for us is, I mean, Nepal, it's a small market, but it's 30 million population. So, I mean, compared to a lot of other countries, it's still a big market. So,
When
David, like between, I mean, India and Nepal, I mean, there are a lot of affinity in the market, a lot of, like Nepal and Indian people, although there's a geographical divide between the country, but we're more or less acted as one country. There's a lot of, I mean, in terms of products, in terms of even the movies that we watch, in terms of the marriages that are happening cross border. I mean, so we are in a way brothers and sisters. I mean, very
yeah,
closely.
I understand that part. Yes.
Yeah, sure you do. But David, I mean, but in terms of the market, India is a really big market, right? And Nepal has limited products available. So what now we're trying to do is we're just trying to facilitate the trade between these two countries, and especially for Nepali any shoppers wanting to buy anything from India, they don't have to carry an empty luggage like we discussed before, right? So, but also my dream is the other way around. How do I break the landlocked mindset that Nepalese people have for like decades and decades? Everyone in Nepal will think, I mean, this is the market, this is the country, this is the population. I mean, we should operate within the boundary. And that is so wrong, especially in the digital era, right? So with the partnership with Flipkart, one, I mean, the story is clear now. You don't have to think just Nepal, you can go beyond Nepal. And even partnering with giants like Flipkart is possible. Second is how do I, expose Nepali SMEs products that are so unique to Nepal, right? I mean, we have all kinds of really beautiful products like mountain honey and those kind of
Yes,
exclusive products.
yes, I'm
Some of
familiar with the
those.
mountain honey. I mean, 25 years ago, I carried a lot of mountain honey as a gift to my Korean friend.
I hope those are not mad honey that
Yeah,
makes you hallucinated and all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
but we have yak cheese and all that. So
yes,
I mean, so India is right there, China is right there. There's like I mean, more than a couple of billion population, which I mean, for any Nepali entrepreneurs, that would be like a gold rush, right? So we're now
yes,
trying to I mean, reverse the process and how do we export it to India as well through
yes,
our partners. So those that's a strategic partnership, and other than I mean, just trade, it's a strategic partnership where
yes.
the teams are aligned, the tech is aligned, and we're now trying to, I mean, explore a lot of working collaboration and all of that.
Yeah, sounds
Uh,
like an exciting idea. Sounds like exciting, and then I mean facilitating in the both side flow of the trading, right, between the
right,
India and Nepal, right?
right.
So, can you please tell us about your partnership and then cooperation with the government of Nepal?
Sure. So the government of Nepal, they have this division called Food Management Division. The objective of the function is to, I mean, in Nepal, a lot of people cannot, I mean, pay full price for essentials, right? Like rice and salt and sugar and those kind of things. So the government, they've been providing all these essentials at subsidized rates. But what used to happen was, people, they had to go to the offices and stay in a long line and a queue and then receive the goods, right? But all of a sudden during COVID, what has happened is people no longer could go to the offices. I mean, we were in a complete lockdown, and government could not deliver it to them because they did not operate in an e-commerce structure, right? And that was not their expertise. So as a local company, they reached out to us, and I mean, to be honest, we decided not to even take any margins out of it because we thought, I mean, this is an opportunity to serve the market and to help people of Nepal and also the government, I mean, go facilitate whatever they're doing to the crisis, right? So that's
Yes,
when we stepped in. We took all of the local costs and everything, but we managed it for them on
yes,
both sides. And then we're still continuing the relationship now and expanding into a lot of other areas, but that's how the partnership got initiated.
yeah. Not only in terms of the like expansion of the business, but also it is sounds like it is a very meaningful role you can play in the Nepalese community,
Right,
right? Yeah.
right. I mean, as a local company, David, like we look at things very differently. For us, not everything is transactional or everything is commercial. I mean, we are here to stay as a Nepali company, so a lot of things that we do are for Nepal also, and,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
not just for the company.
Yeah, I agree. That's the good way to think about the I mean the value propositioning in a longer term, right? I mean
Right.
everybody I interviewed already more than hundreds of entrepreneur founder of the business owner in around the world. People talk about same thing. If you focus too much on the early monetization of your business, you cannot grow the business, right?
Mm,
You should
mm,
play some important role in your community, then
right.
business will grow by itself, right?
Yeah,
That's a truth, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
This consulting firm called Redshare. did a market research in Nepal, and they've come up with $1 billion GMV by 2026 as a figure for Nepal. Currently, it stands at $100 million, so it's going to grow by 10x. And in terms of market leaders, so there's just two companies. One is us, and one is this company called Daraz, which is owned by Alibaba Group.
Mm-hmm.
So we're operating in a duopoly market, in a very big market opportunity, and that's how we're heading, uh, fighting Alibaba head-to-head.
When you run the startup and then you need people of different skill set and different mindset, right? So how do you find the smart people for your business? And because you entrepreneur, basically a job of entrepreneur, you need to solve a lot of problem on the ground every day, right? It's
Right,
unexpected. You cannot plan ahead. And
right.
how do you deal with the situation if your employee, new employee, and not used to, not familiar with the startup cultures? And then in case you have that kind of employee, how do you transition such employee into your culture?
Got it. So, David, I think it's a very important question, especially for us, as a local company fighting a global giant. I think the people who work for us and are putting their best years, because the median age in this company is 24, 25. So that's the time when they could have, got anywhere else. They're at the prime of the energy and everything. So the difference between, who works for us and who goes to Alibaba is the ones that are coming to us are the ones that are very eager to learn. And I'm not trying to, discriminate or, discount Alibaba's effort in the market. But to be honest, for us, we have to start from everything from scratch, right? If we have an idea, then the next thing is,
Yes.
okay, I need to build tech, I need to build operations, and I even need to build a manual around this. Whereas in multinational and companies that are established, everything is given, right? This is how you do it. This is how it's been done in Pakistan or Sri Lanka, and this is okay. You need a tech, okay, here, you have this. For us, the tech might even take like 8 to 10 months, and then so the team that is involved in the idea now is involved in the entire process from ground up, and that itself, is an opportunity to learn and to grow and to get your hands dirty on everything, right? So I'd say that's the difference, and that's what we also look at when hiring. Is someone here just for salary and then to have an easy life, or someone here to learn and to grow with the industry? I think that's a major difference.
What is the biggest challenge in scaling your business, taking it to the next step, next level?
Number one, now that e-commerce is kind of set in tier one markets like Kathmandu, the capital city, and all. The biggest challenge is how do I then move this to tier two and tier three market, right? So 10 years back when we started, obviously tier two market was not even in my picture. But today, if you look at Nepal, the geographic divide between Kathmandu or tier one markets and tier two, there's a big divide that's happening there. And people there have access to finance, but they don't have access to market. So they want to, buy products, but they don't have shops around them, right? So this presents a perfect opportunity for e-commerce companies like ours to go there and penetrate fast. But again, the biggest challenge comes back to what I was pointing out earlier. The ecosystem is not ready there, right? In a lot of those areas, the internet is not there, the awareness is not there, the policies is not there. So fixing all of that again, starting to set up the industry itself, the ecosystem itself, that's going to be a challenge, I think. But that's where we're heading now, like trying to expand to tier two and tier three markets.
Yeah. When I talk with the entrepreneur, the CEO of a startup in other market, people, one of the top answer, popular answer is like a skilled management member, because emerging market, because the startup scene is a business, a history of the business, and not long as compared to the larger developed economy. They said we don't have experienced
Hmm.
management member, but
Hmm.
it sounds like you don't talk about the management member. You may have a lot of experience and a smart management member in your market. I have a chat with Lahore Chaudhary of CG Group, and then the team of Dolma, and then he
Right.
mentioned that they
Hmm.
have a lot of smart people in local market.
Yeah, there is. There's
Mm,
a lot of people. It's just that they don't know they're smart. You just have to, like show it. I mean, you're very smart.
mhm,
It's just that I mean, in Nepal, there are a handful of established industries, right? And like auto and banking and FMCG and all of that. But when it comes to the digital side, everything is new. So
mm,
for a lot of these, I mean, talented individuals as well. I mean, even though they have 10 or 15 years of experience in the retail market and all, when it comes to digital, like they're being exposed for the very first time, right? And they take some time to adapt, and they're very frightened at the very beginning at how things are and if they're thinking in the right way or not. But eventually they realize, I mean, both these industries are pretty much the same. Digital is just some nuances, I mean, you just need to figure out one or two things and you're done. So there
yeah,
are a lot of struggles.
gotcha, gotcha. So next question is, what do you have on top of your mind for the next step this year and next year, and then your long-term vision for your
Right.
company?
So I mean, two things. One is more personal and one more professional. On the personal note, my mission is to, I mean, ignite hope in Nepal, because in Nepal, I mean, for the last say 20 years, lot of, like you talked about smart people. A lot of smart people have gone abroad for the studies and work, and they don't want to come back, right? I mean, they kind of lost hope for the nation. And I mean, coming back myself and establishing Sastodeal, and it has now scaled to a point that people use the company as an example. But we're not done, right? I think in the next 5 years, if we can do one or two things right, we can be that example to ignite hope for people living abroad or also in Nepal, in Nepal itself, the youth people to look at this company and say, you know what, I mean, we can also do and establish similar companies in Nepal. So establishing, igniting hope is very important at this stage, I think, and that's my personal mission. As for the company's concerned, I think we're after the billion-dollar market. That's there, but also as a local Nepali company, I mean, we want to, I mean, the dream and the theme is that we're working on taking Nepal to the world. I mean, again, talking about the landlocked mindset. How do I break that? And how do I take Nepali SMEs, Nepali, I mean, entrepreneurs, and expose them to the world? So that's the next step for the company.
Yeah, gotcha. And my last question is also the most my favorite question. Who is the nicest person you have ever met in your life, and why, except for your family member?
Um, a lot of nice people that I've met. Obviously, a lot of people that have helped me, in my early days, and a lot of people that have trusted me even today. But in a recent encounter, I'd say, like, I mean, just a month back. So during COVID, I was helping an organization, provide daily meals to hospitals and those people working COVID ward. And one of the cooks there did not even have one of his arm, right? So he lost one of his arm in the conflicts while he was serving for the army, and he was there as a volunteer using his left arm and cooking a big pot of soup and whatnot. And he worked throughout for a month without pay. He could have stayed at home, did nothing, but I mean, he came there and volunteered. So I think he has to be the nicest person that I've encountered recently.
Yes, sounds like a very touching story.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for taking time to sharing your interesting, ambitious entrepreneur journey with us. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And like I said, I have listened to a lot of your podcasts and all, and I love it. And it's very casual and very insightful, and I'm
Yeah.
very glad to be here.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share with your friend, and drop me a review. Goodbye.